Welcome everybody to the Apprentice Worldwide New York Global Showcase. I'm actually so excited about a bunch of my friends here that I hang out with on a year in, year out in conferences and in bars all over New York and in Miami as well whenever they come to Miami. But you're gonna meet these spectacular people. These are top executives. Don't be fooled by the fun by the fun activity that we're doing here. All of us are serious about our businesses, right? And about progressing in our career. However, as friends, we get a chance to relax and make fun of each other and celebrate our wins. This is the most important part. Whenever we get together, we celebrate our success. And if somebody's a little down, we pick each other up, right? That's what friends do. So without further ado, I will pass the baton to the first one that appeared today, Lucas.
What? Fine, I'll go first. Hi, everyone. How are you? Thank you, Hernan, for inviting me. It's good to see you at least over the video. Hopefully, I'll go to Miami soon, or you're gonna come here to New York. So I'm Lucas Amaral. I'm originally from Peru, and I've been in New York now for 4 years. I work in Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation, mainly known as SMBC. For some of if any of you don't know this bank, it's a Japanese global bank. It's one of the top 3 banks in Japan. It's usually SMBC, Mizuho, and MUFG. What I do there is I cover the trade finance business in Latin America. Giving plain vanilla products, short-term loans, standby LCs, commercial LCs, to more complex working capital solutions such as supply chain finance, receivables finance, and inventory finance to big corporates in Latin America, mainly Mexico, Peru, Colombia, Chile, and Brazil. Before that, I was working in Interbank Peru, which is how I met our good friend Hernan. I used to be a client of his when he was in Bank of America, right, Hernan? So that's how I met him. Of course, we stayed in touch, and we still talk all the time. What I did in Interbank was I was covering financial institutions for 7 years, and that's it. That's what I do in a nutshell. I used to travel a lot to Latin America, so that thing I liked. Yeah, that's it. That's it on my side.
Are you watching the Copa America or what?
Of course. Actually, Peru is playing right now, so I'm missing that game for this. You should be proud.
Sorry about that, bro. No, sorry.
I prefer to be here, of course.
liar, pencil fire. Thank you. That's called commitment. Thank you, sir.
Of course.
All right. So I'm gonna skip the order a little bit, and because I like to do things right. I like with my friend. Let me see who's here live. So Daniel, I know you arrived after some of the guys, but you had a good joke, so it's your turn.
That joke really did me in. Hi everyone. I'm Daniel Kizena. As Hernan mentioned a little while ago, I know Hernan. My father and Hernan used to work together in trade finance years ago. And at one stage, Hernan was also a mentor of mine. I used to play ideas off of him, and about 11 years ago, I got into financial planning. I'm with JP Morgan in New York now as a financial advisor. Been with JP Morgan about 3 years now. I've been on both the insurance side and the broker-dealer side of financial advising. with Merrill Lynch, another broker dealer, and AXA and Mass Mutual on the insurance sides. Love what I do. I feel blessed to have found this as a career. It's one of the rare roles in finance where you have ownership over a business, over your book of business. Provides an abnormal amount of job security, having that ownership of the book of business, which I enjoy a lot, having a lot of autonomy in terms of the direction I take my business in. As a financial advisor, I provide, for the most part, I focus on retail financial planning as opposed to institutional financial planning, like running 401ks for businesses. That's a small part of my business. I focus mostly on the retail side, working with families and individuals on building, creating, and preserving wealth and distributing it and transferring assets to next generation, or charity, whatever, however they're inclined. My office is located near Columbia University in the JP Morgan model. They have JP Morgan advisors in Chase branches, which is I guess you'd call it a hybrid model. I get a lot of my clients through the branch, the branch customers on the banking side, but I also do a lot of outreach and networking to gather clients from outside the JP Morgan model, in the traditional cold calling or cold networking sense, and then a lot of clients I get through referrals as well. I live up in Westchester County. That's where I am right now. I'm up in Bronxville. I love it up here. And yeah, I'm an Italian and an American. I'm a dual citizen. I speak both languages. I had a career in private equity before financial advising in Milan. And the analyst life wasn't for me. I'm more of, I much prefer what I do now. So that's me. Passions include mountains and sailing, anything to do with that. So.
Well, thank God I didn't tell you to prepare, but I would have shown some pictures of you rock climbing. So this guy, on the weekends while I am here sunbathing in Miami, this guy's rock climbing in all over the place. It's a great sport. That's why he's so fit.
Over Father's Day weekend, I took my 2-year-old on his first camping trip, and it was fantastic. It was really beautiful.
Very nice. Awesome. Well, thank you, Dan. So we'll come back to you because I got questions for all of you, for Lucas too. I wanna know who won the election. No, nobody knows yet, right?
Oh, New York.
All right.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, guys. So next in the queue, Natalia, our newest associate. Actually, she's been with us for a while already. So welcome.
Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Natalia Gutierrez. I also go by Nati. I'm from Miami. I grew up there, but when I graduated high school, I went on to study at NYU Stern School of Business, and I'm going into my senior year there. So I've been going back and forth from Miami and New York to for the past 3 years. And I love New York. I'm studying finance and global business. When I'm there, I live in the East Village, like right near NYU. And right now I'm actually interning at Salesforce under the MuleSoft branch. And I met Hernan through my dad because when I was going through the interview process for an internship this summer, I was having a hard time. And Hernan came to me and told me about all the networking opportunities and how building my network would help me advance in my career. So here I am today. And yeah, I landed the Salesforce internship and I'm super happy. I'm really early on in my career, so I don't have much to speak to that, but I'm super excited for everything that's to come. And I'm always willing to learn and meet new people and see all different aspects of the business. I'm currently in customer success, which is far off from finance and global business. but I'm trying to dip my feet into a bunch of different areas and see what comes next. So I'm really excited to meet all of you and share a little bit of what I can.
So the next meeting will probably be somewhere in Soho to make it easier for everybody. Go hang out there. I went to the Ninja. Did you guys go to the Ninja restaurant in Soho?
No.
Man, you guys have to go. It's really cool. You're in some booths. I went with Nate Nunez, so we used to work with me at B of A, and then later on, one of the first apprentices, and it was a cool experience. You guys have to check it out. Of course, a Ninja pops up every so often, kind of like a theme thing. So I'll take you guys there. Cool. Thank you, Nati. I'll ask you more questions in a little bit, but we got to go with next up the queue. Maureen, are you there? Knock, knock.
Sorry. Yes, I'm here.
Welcome.
Hi. I'm going to be one of those people. I'm on mute. Sorry about that. Thanks for inviting me. So I met Hernan at conferences. I used to be part of the National Chemical Credit Association, and I was on the international board. So it's one of those things that I enjoy doing is joining organizations that are part of a trade or our business, right? So right now I'm also part of IFTA. I work at AIG as a senior underwriter in the trade finance team. So what I do is I work mostly with bank-to-bank deals, supply chain finance, accounts receivable purchase programs, and things like that. I guess what I could share from myself, or at least my career trajectory, I actually started my career as an art director when I graduated from college. And I think I'm an example of how life transforms us and we kind of go with the flow and find our success in anything that we do. And one of the things that I feel I always bring to the table is that I'm a creative, think outside of the box kind of person, and I try to find solutions. So not rigid thinking. I don't know if that's part of the artist in me, but I think it's important to be flexible, especially in today's economic environment. We have COVID. No matter what business lines we're in, there's so many different challenges that we face. And every day is a new evolution to keep up to speed with what's going on in the business sector or any career path that we take. Outside of that, I enjoy running. I like to do things for charities. I really enjoy giving back to the community. So if there's a charity run, I'm trying to be on it virtually. And next year, I hope to do a half marathon or marathon for charity with my daughter. And that's kind of it for me.
Awesome. And when I told Maureen about what we were doing at Apprentice Worldwide, she said, I like that.
I
And
was all over it. I'm even telling people about Apprentice Worldwide. I think one of the things that I was fortunate about and when my career changed was I was part of a mentoring program at a company called Heller Financial. And to this day, I still am so grateful for my mentor who took the time. And at that time, I was in my late 20s, so older adult, who showed me that there's different career paths that I could take because I started in a collections department for commercial collections in a factoring company. And what I would share too is when I left there and I started working at Unilever, when we don't have those type of mentoring or mentee-mentor relationships, we can always look for them. So when I went to Unilever, one of the things I did was I looked for executives within the company. And I told them about my previous mentoring experience. And I just said, you know, would you be able to meet me for lunch? Because I would just like to learn a little bit more about what you do and how that fits into my role. Because at that time I was an assistant credit manager, but I got to sit with like the general manager, the head of accounting. So I would recommend to anybody that if you're in a company and you're starting out your career, look for those people within your organization, legal, HR, anything, because I think most people are so happy to share their knowledge with others, and you just kind of have to find those people and tap into it. So I'm grateful for that.
And I'm grateful for you. So this is definitely a space. This is a good excuse for us to continue, building our friendship and meeting new people. That's really spectacular that we have these spaces to do so. So thank you, Maureen. I think in New York as well, Jovan, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me? Let me
Yes,
see.
sir.
Excellent. Hold on.
There he is. I remember that face.
Sorry, a little bit at the beginning, I couldn't figure out where to press, but great to see everybody. Hernan, great to see you. Nice shirt, great colors. Love it.
For you.
So to be very brief, I'll basically mention 3 banks that I work for. I moved from Belgrade, Yugoslavia, at that time Serbia, to New York. Graduated from Belgrade University, international economics. Played soccer, semi-pro and pro. Actually came to New York to study, to try to play professionally, which I managed, semi-pro, pro, I would say. Practice on Giant Stadium, which was amazing experience at that time, and started to work at Mizuho, or at that time DKB, Daiichi Kangyo Bank, trade operations, payments, reimbursements, letters of credit, collections, etc. Moved to FI coverage, LATAM International Finance Group at DKB. Started to cover Latin America. Did not speak Spanish, but I took Latin classes. I could read a little bit, which was kind of helpful, financials, etc. So I did corporate lending coverage, Mexico, Brazil, a lot of trade, but also working capital lending, project finance, ECA deals. We closed the first deal with the Exim Bank, with the Japanese bank at that time. And so I think Hernan and me probably met 10, 15 years ago. So I have been in banking more than 20 years. And then I moved to JP Morgan, really covering traditional trade, North America, LATAM flows, including SCF and receivables. That's where we continued our dialogue. I think Hernan was at BofA maybe at that time. We, really had some great conversations and tried to help each other all along the way. At the end of JP Morgan career, I was working on Exim Bank transactions, guaranteed the loans throughout Latin America for Latin American corporates. And for the past 4 years plus, I have been with BofA, GCB Commercial Bank coverage, which is for the standards companies who have revenues anywhere between 50 million to 2 billion. But the range can be really large, and it could be even bigger. Mostly, some of them are listed, not that many, mostly private companies, covering Northeast. And for the past year, I'm doing PPP forgiveness for the bank. I volunteered to join that team over the past year. And love soccer, live in Queens, other sports as well. Still play from time to time with friends. So whoever is ready to play Saturdays, weekends, just let me know.
By the way, so as you could tell from my little flag dangling over here, I'm from Puerto Rico, where we don't play soccer. Right. So I had to literally learn about soccer because I'm married to a Peruvian, and then I traveled to Latin America. So I had to forcefully learn, but I love it. I love it now, and I'm following both cups, and it's an amazing time the past couple of weeks. But
actually,
by the way, so Jovan,
Europe and Copa America, right? So
I know,
amazing.
We're busy. We're busy watching a bunch of TV. But thank you, Jovan. So we went around, and as you could tell, these people work in financial services primarily, right? Because I've been a banker 25 years, and that's fine. Then I decided to shuffle things a little bit 4 years ago and started bringing non-bankers to get together with us and share their experiences. And I want to introduce you to some non-bankers that are here. So I'll start with Ignacio, non-banker.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
So I met Hernan a couple of years ago in college. So I've known Hernan here probably the longest of everybody on this call. I started my career in marketing. I've had a couple of roles in marketing, also in finance, but finance roles within marketing. And then about 10 years ago, I made the shift over to technology. So I've been on the data and strategy side of technology here for about 10 or 12 years. Most recently, actually, I was a Salesforce implementer. So I worked with an integrator and was a partner of Salesforce. So I know the Salesforce product really well on the financial services side. And so right now I work for Ryder. It's the largest logistics company, one of the largest in the world. And we have 800 shops across the United States. We manage supply chain for the largest companies you could think of. We do last mile transportation, e-commerce solutions. And then the piece that I'm responsible for is I head up the data governance practice for our master data within Ryder. So that includes our customer master data, our supplier master data, location data, worker data. I might be missing one or two, but I do have a team of developers and tech leads and analysts that help me with that practice as well. And I've enjoyed working with the different teams here across the world with Hernan, and I learn something new every time I'm on one of these calls. But the one thing I know people always ask me about is how I made the transition from finance and business over to technology. I really always enjoyed working with technology. I've worked for large companies here in Florida at Royal Caribbean, which is the second largest cruise line in the world. Worked in sales and marketing there, but I always wanted to do the technology projects, always wanted to automate everything that we did from a marketing and sales perspective. So I got a lot of exposure in working on that, and worked at 2 startups in between there and Ryder, and learned a lot about how small and medium-sized businesses work. So really enjoyed that as well. So any questions about technology, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll do the best to help.
Thank you, Iggy. So Iggy is my best friend. We went to college together. We're part of AK Psi, the business fraternity. He was a fraternity brother of mine when I was in college hanging out. And it was such a fun time. And he was the one that introduced me to not only the Cuban culture, but Cuban coffee, which allowed me to survive many nights in Miami taking tests. And now I drink coladas like if it's nothing, and nothing happens to me. But everybody who tries it says that they can't sleep for 3 days. So at any rate, so back to technology. So this is another AK Psi that I had working with me at Apprentice in doing some consulting for me. And he did such an amazing job. He fell in love with technology, and he got a kick butt job at a company that I think you see from the background that there's an I and an M somewhere. So Christian.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christian. I'm an associate consultant with IBM's Global Business Services under their cognitive process reengineering, especially in their financial services insurance practice. I just recently graduated last December from Florida International University with a double degree in business analytics and information systems. So I have the pleasure of being a little bit business, a little bit tech. And that has translated basically into my career as well. I've been with IBM for about to be almost 4 months now. I started in March, and it's been a great experience. As Hernan said, I met Hernan through uh, my business fraternity Alpha Kappa Psi. He graced us one night, and came to visit and to just kind of give us some knowledge, speak, talk to us one on one, and that's kind of where we kicked off our relationship. I was interested in starting some technology initiatives, and I came to him for advice, and that's kind of where our relationship started. And I was also had the great opportunity to also intern with Apprentice Worldwide, and it was a great time. Learned lots of things, kind of learned the corporate dynamic from that. Uh, Lots of tools that I actually used in his internship. I'm currently using now to manage workflow, just to project management, um, project management work. So you name it, it's been a great experience, and I'm grateful for it. And as for my time in IBM, currently I have not been on much since I just started my career, but I have been on a project with supporting a team with a government project using blockchain for I guess you could say it's like a COVID passport. So to help with the reopening of neighborhoods, cities, all safely, and especially within big public events. So yeah, it's been great supporting that team. I'm in the process of finding another project to get my hands on, since it was super interesting just getting to get my hands on the blockchain technology and see the applications it can have within in business environment, and and really granted a whole a whole government use case, and it's just been so interesting, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
And he's moving to New York. So you guys are going to take care of him over there and show him around, hopefully. By the way, Inwa He, the head of GBS Banking and Financial Markets for IBM, is a good friend of mine. She is part of ITFA, which is an association. She was on the board with me in ITFA. So I tell you to go visit her when you go to New York and said, Hernan told me. Well, I would tell you to give her a hug, but I know with COVID, nobody wants to give a hug. But Hernan told me to say hi to you, okay?
That's
She's
interesting.
one of the big bosses there.
She is. She's one of the big heads for wealth management or banking and financial markets, something like that. But yeah, I've definitely heard of her. I'll reach out to her.
Yeah. I stay quiet. I have a few secrets. I only share with the people that are nice. And my friends, by the way. Awesome. All right. So we got off from financial services to corporate technology. I'll keep in the technology route. So let's go with my good friend Olufunke, where my exes are in Texas. By the way, that's a song. My exes are not in Texas.
Hi, Hernan. Okay, hello, everyone. A big hello from Dallas, Texas. Yeah, I'm really at home here, even though I'm really at home here in this Zoom meeting, even though I'm in the audience, to put it in a way, right? I'm an audience member here, and right? But I'm really at home because I'm here in banking, I'm here in technology. Hernan knows my background. I was in banking in Nigeria. I came to the US. I currently work in technology. As far as I'm concerned, technology straddles every industry. It's actually very interesting right now what we're seeing in technology. There's ed tech, there's health tech, there's tech in every industry. So whatever industry one is working in, it's actually good. It'll be a great thing to be cognizant, or at least be aware, right, of the technologies that's being used. within your sphere, within your area of business, your line of business. So like I said, I work in technology. I'm a program manager. I've been working on IT and business programs for about 20 years now, from banking to management consulting, and now in tech. Like Hernan, I enjoy food. I like traveling. I like reading. I'm trying to watch at least one movie a month now. My latest project is to take veggie smoothies twice a day, breakfast and dinner, to try to cleanse my system. Pray for me, but at least I'm I'm finding a middle ground. I only stepped into New York once when I first came into the United States. I landed in JFK, so I've never really visited the city of New York, but I look forward to visiting New York one of these days, and I definitely will be reaching out to Apprentice New York team, right, members, so that at least we'll be able to say hi, fellowship, get to know one another a little better. But I'm glad to be here with you, even though I'll be logging out in like 10 minutes.
That's fine. She did an amazing job. If you guys didn't know, she's actually the only mentor that has been recorded twice. She spoke about her book, Defying Inertia, which you can buy in Amazon, I remember. And then the other thing is she spoke in the Global Internship Group recently as well. She gave a spectacular conference to the team. So you can find her in the YouTube channel for Apprentice Worldwide, where we recorded her. And, you know, these are amazing advice for everybody in business. Okay. Thank you, Doctor. Appreciate it. Oh, she didn't say because, you know, she doesn't want everybody bugging her, but she works for a small company as well called Texas Instrument. If you've ever taken a test with a calculator, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. Awesome. But she's not the one making the calculators.
Oh no,
She's pretty calculating though. She's pretty calculating. Awesome. Who else do we have over here? We have, well, I got to talk to Nacho, who's been working very, very hard lately, and he's part of our global internship program, and he's in Costa Rica. Nacho.
Hello. I'm going to turn my video briefly. It's just that I apologize because I'm sort of on the go, so that's why I haven't turned my camera on during this time, but I just want to say hi. I'm Nacho. I'm actually 17 years old. I met Hernan because my sister actually worked with him in, what was it, like 2017? And we met at my sister's wedding about a month ago. So I'm so sorry. We met at the wedding, and then we had the chance to talk. And I don't know, maybe he saw something on me. And he offered me this opportunity to work with Apprentice Worldwide. So that was pretty great. And I'm working right now in his company, Worldwide Financial Solutions. Worldwide Financial Solutions as a financial analyst. And well, we are barely starting, but I know there are greater things to come. And my main focus is to meet all of you guys and all of the people that he has introduced me all over the world. And that's something I'm very grateful with him about. Normally, I have to admit that I normally don't admit that I'm 17, because that's something that some people try to use against me, because they might think that I'm unprepared or maybe I'm immature. But I don't like messing around. So I try to be ahead of my game all the time, and I definitely don't like to fit into normal descriptions. So I always try to think out of the box.
I like it. Now you could tell why he's here, right? So first of all, Nacho, I was just like you when I was 17, right? And I I don't know if you know, but I am not 17. I'm much older than 17, but people think I'm much younger, and I always have issues when it comes to age and people, taking us seriously. So I know how you feel. Let the work, let your work and your attitude speak for themselves, right? So I am. People know that I like having fun, but when they want to talk about business and my area of expertise, I think I'm one of the best. Don't believe me? I believe myself. That's what matters, right? You got to believe in yourself and always grab books, read everything, right? That's what I do. Everything. I want to be on top of everything related to my industry and then some, because I want people to come to me. So forget about the people that complain, or tell you anything about your age. Age is just a number, right? You're here to prove everybody wrong with your skills, right? I know people that are very skilled, very young, and some people that are not skilled at all and have, positions that I wonder sometimes how they got them. That's not our concern. Our concern is me. I am my concern. You are your concern. You keep moving forward. You're doing awesome. By the way, I haven't fired you yet.
Thank you.
I'll fire you July 30th. You're fired, by the way.
This is my 5-week notice.
This is your 5-week notice. That's right. I'll probably give you a demotion in price in your salary as well. Awesome. Well, talking about a person that is, kicking butt, and it's I wanted to come back to financial services, but I met Edward through a friend of mine in Orlando, and he's just doing amazing things at such a young age, and really very professional, very driven, and I'll let him speak about himself. So Edward.
I appreciate the kind introduction. Hi, everyone. As Hernan said, my name is Edward Garcia. I am not in New York. I'm actually based out of Orlando, Florida. I was born in New York, however, Sunnyside, Queens. And my parents moved down when I was pretty young. I went to school down here in Orlando at the University of Central Florida, got a degree in finance. And during that time, I was doing a rather very long internship. It's about 2.5 years. With a company called Vistana that got acquired by Marriott Vacations, and I was doing international accounting, primarily covering Mexico on their corporate side, and that was one of the best times I've ever had. During that time, I met Ana Gutierrez, who introduced me to Hernan and the group, and I was ecstatic to join, as I was a president for Prispanica on campus and also part of Alpha as well. And unfortunately, COVID hit. I did lose my internship position and my full-time offer there, but I was quickly picked up by BNY Mellon under their hedge fund services, covering Bridgewater Associates as an accountant. And then about 4 months after that, I was actually recruited by Goldman Sachs as an analyst to join their Boca team on the Goldman Sachs Renewable Power Group down here, primarily doing financial operations. So it's a little bit of everything. It's been a wild 2 years or so, but we're pushing along.
I don't think that was a bad beginning of a career, right? You're fired and then doing something else, and all of a sudden, renewable energy at Goldman Sachs. Awesome. And that's only the beginning, right? So welcome. You're in the right place, brother.
Thank you.
All right. And I think last but definitely not least, I have to introduce you to Mike. Mike is a superstar, a young superstar. And I met him in Goodwall. Goodwall is a social, it's like a LinkedIn, but for, young people, and where they exhibit their talent without worrying about old people looking at them and going right. In LinkedIn, they're probably embarrassed to do stuff, but in Goodwall, the talent flows. And I love it because I get to see people in their environment. And that's how I met Mike. Mike, very talented individual, not only artistic, but also, very professional in his presentations, very driven from what I've seen in his demeanor, right? So don't be fooled by appearances, right? When you're fun and all that, people think you're not serious about your business. The reality is he's very serious about his career. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here, right? So Mike, why don't you tell us about you?
Hi. Before I present myself, please allow me a second. I am going to.
I think, Mike, your internet cut off.
Hi.
Let's do it again. Start over. You're okay. I'll edit this part from the video. Don't worry.
Don't worry. Yeah, I just had to switch from Wi-Fi to data, so there's no interruption. All right.
Dale,
You
papá.
can hear me, right?
Sí.
Hello. Hi, everybody. My name is Michael Gavilanes. I'm 20 years old. I live in Ecuador, and I am a student for languages. And as Hernan said, I am a Goodwill content creator. I'm wearing a hoodie from the app right now, actually. I love cooking, dancing, video production, and editing. And I gotta be honest, as I heard you all talk, there's a lot of business terms, and I know nothing about business, so I got lost. But I love learning, and I know I have a lot to learn. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm so excited to learn from all of you.
Man, don't be fooled. We didn't know much when we were your age, right? So we just figured things out. And by the way, don't be afraid to ask questions, okay? This is an open place to do that. You don't believe me? Ask the mentors. So I think we got everybody here, which is a perfect segue. Maybe I want to hear a little bit about how things are in New York. I mean, any of you can tell me what's going on in New York. Can you get out around? Are you excited? Are you doing business? Are things looking up? Things looking down? What do you tell me about New York? Danny, what are you looking in New York? I know you got to go to the branch. Are you going to the branch?
Yeah, hi. I might have mentioned earlier, my office is located in the Upper West Side of Manhattan near Columbia University. My branch is actually called the Columbia University branch. I've been back in the branch from the first business day after July 4th, back in 2020. Again, with the model that we have at JP Morgan Chase, a lot of our clients have the expectation of walking into the branch and seeing their advisor in person. I commute every day from Bronxville, Westchester. For those of you not familiar with New York, Westchester is the county just above the Bronx, just above New York City. I commute down into the city every day. I was admittedly part of the herd that left New York in 2020. My wife and I decided to buy a house up in Westchester, and we left our apartment on Central Park West, the balcony right on Central Park. And I miss Central Park enormously, but I was raised out on Long Island, New York for the most part. So I'm a suburban kid, or was a suburban kid. Now my kid will be a suburban kid. So I'm comfortable up here in that regard. New York City is opening back up. I mean, it's coming back to life. I think one of the participants here, I think it was Natalia, mentioned she's down in Lower Manhattan. She'll probably be able to speak more to that. But even in the Upper West Side, it's lively. Restaurants are coming back. There are quite a few places shut down, but it's New York. It'll be back for sure. Probably the wise money bought in New York last year instead of leaving New York. Yeah, it's it's a great place to be. We're voting. Well, I can't vote in the mayoral race because I'm no longer a resident, but they're deciding on the mayor now and other positions in the city. And I think it's probably welcomed, a change in what's going on in the city in some regards. And I think it's going to be interesting to see who wins. I guess more to come on that. But yeah, I think New York will always be back. I don't think there's any concern of New York kind of falling by the wayside or not being a thing, even with work from home. And a lot of people I knew from New York and still know, and their office may be in New York, they work in New York, but they have gone quite much further than I went, and still say that they work in New York. But I think even without that, even regardless of that, New York will always be the center of business, of possibly even of technology, of startups. I mean, it's a great place to run a business. For someone like myself, I mentioned earlier, I consider myself a business owner as a financial advisor, even though I work under the JP Morgan umbrella. I couldn't imagine building the business that I've built in any other city. New York is a place where people come to build a career, to be successful, to learn who they are, learn from people all over the world. And it's a place where I've been able to build a book of clients of people who, I consider most of them my friends. I've worked with most of my clients since the beginning of my career, and most of them have followed me from the various firms I've been at, from one to the other. I truly believe that I wouldn't have been able to build the practice that I built in any other city in the world, just because of the type of person that's in New York. Not only the people that are born and bred in New York, but the people that New York City attracts from all over the world. They're go-getters. They're people that want to grow in themselves. And there was one of the participants earlier mentioned that she had, I think it was Maureen, had a quite a stark career shift. And I've heard so many stories of that in New York, and I love that. I mean, to be able to bring a different perspective to an industry like finance, to be able to bring an artistic perspective to an industry like finance, I think provides an incredible amount of depth. But I might be getting off topic here. But it's just to say that I feel like New York is the kind of place where you find a lot of that kind of thing. And I don't think that's going away. It took a big hit during COVID, probably like in other cities all over the world. I remember about a year ago, there being nights and whole days where all you heard were ambulance sirens, like nonstop. My apartment was located near a hospital and near the street that ran across, one of the streets that ran across Central Park between the hospitals on the east side and the hospitals on the west side. And it was an experience that I don't think any of us will forget. And I think it's an experience that will make all of us stronger and better. And people of our generation, or people alive today, for the most part, haven't, at least in the developed world, haven't experienced hardship like that. And I think it made a lot of us stronger and more flexible, more adaptive. And I think New York is definitely going to bounce back from all this. It already is.
Well, that's what I love about New York and New Yorkers, right? I don't know about you, but probably the worst thing that I've seen in my life has been September 11, right? I had many friends that lost good, friends there. And just look at the amazing story around the people that helped, right? The heroes, that building, massive building that they built just to say F you to everybody who attacked New York, and we're here, right? And just, amazing. People sometimes feel that New York is a concrete jungle, but I call it a concrete jungle, a fluffy concrete jungle full of the best people that, so hospitable. This myth of people being rude. Yeah, there's a few rude people, but I have never felt not at home in New York. And I'm not talking about as a tourist going to Broadway, which I do, and my wife does. I take my kids all the time. Every year I try to pass by. I'm talking about, you know, going to people's houses. Even though they're tiny in comparison, it feels right at home. I eat in the places. They take me to eat pizza. They take me to Brazilian food at Plataforma. You name it. It's just such an amazing place, and you're witnesses right here with the people that are here. There's nothing bad about loving New York and being in New York. It's just an amazing city, just different, right? And this is what I love about Apprentice is that we meet people that live in big cities, people that live in the beach, and they're all want to make a good living and meet good people, no? So thank you, Danny. Maureen, what can you tell me about New York? I know you've been there for a while.
I've been here my whole life. My family's from Colombia. I try to get out of New York, and it keeps pulling me back every time I'm looking to move somewhere else. Like Daniel, I actually live in one of the epicenters. So I lived near the Jackson Heights, Corona area. That was one of the hot spots of the virus when it began, and it was really an eerie experience. I'm just settling down, work from home, and I'm actually on a major street that connects to the hospitals. There's 2 hospitals on either end of where I am, and it was constant sirens, and it would be like 3 ambulances at a time. And I think it was maybe a month or 6 weeks later when it started quieting down. And yeah, I have a sibling who is disabled and lives in an assisted living facility, and I wasn't able to see him until January, which was rough. I could bring him food, I could see him in front, but until he got vaccinated, we weren't able to see each other. So Christmas became Christmas Easter, so I call it Creaster. We had a Creaster tree with Christmas ornaments and Easter ornaments, because we wanted to celebrate together. I feel for young people because it's such a difficult time for people to establish careers. It's just a weird place to be in. But I have to say, in the last couple of weeks, the city's popping. It's a happening place. New York City is always going to be happening, which is really exciting. There's tons of people in the city. My daughter had gone to the city the other day, and she was telling me, like, it's almost back to normal. So I guess for all the naysayers who aren't crazy about New York, who are leaving New York, I'm glad I didn't leave New York. Still a lot of industry, still so many things to do, and I'm just waiting for like Broadway shows to happen, start opening, movie theaters and all the things. But in the end of the day, New York is resilient. People in my neighborhood, because we were a hot spot, even though you don't have to wear a mask, everybody still wears a mask. But I'm growing grocery shopping. I'm going to the Colombian restaurant. I'm picking up my pan de queso. I'm picking up my delicious foods, my jugos and everything, because into the end of the day, nothing's going to stop us from moving forward. We're always going to find a way to get around. And I think if anybody learns anything, regardless of your age, is that one, we need to care about our society, right? We're individuals, but we need to look at the bigger picture, how we're interconnected. And, as they say, this too shall pass. So whatever hurdles we have in our careers, our personal lives, keep trudging forward and we'll get through it together. So I look forward to seeing everybody in, New York sometime, and over drinks, a pina colada, a mojito.
You know, I like the bar at Carmine's, you know.
Yeah.
That's one of my spots when I go there, right there next to the Marriott Marquis, which I love. I love. Well, I used to go a lot to the B of A building there on 42nd and Broadway, and you know, some of the best times I've had around that CVS, and then the police station there. Actually, people tell me I'm crazy when I stand there. I go, this is where I should always be, standing right here, maybe singing karaoke at some point. But actually, I like going to the Koreatown with my friends there and sing karaoke. Excellent. Well, thank you, Maureen. Lucas, how's the score? Peru winning or?
No, we tied. We tied 2-2.
2-2. Is it done?
It was a good game though. We were down 2-0 and we tied.
Oh, good. How did you end up in New York? Why don't you share the story a little bit? I mean, you're Peruvian, man.
So I went to college in the University of Maryland.
Okay.
I moved to Maryland in 2002. You know, I was living there for like 8 years. So I got my green card and all that. But I always wanted to go back to Peru. You know, for some reason. Everybody thought I was crazy, but you know. So I went back and I got a job at Interbank, which is one of the big banks in Peru. And I always wanted to do, you know, international banking, something on related to that. So I got a job at Interbank, looking out for or covering international financial institutions. But my idea was always to come back to the US. So I stayed at Interbank for 7 years. You know, getting experience, building a network, you know, learning as much as I could. And, you know, after 7 years, I decided to come back and leverage that network that I gained, and I started looking for jobs here in the US, not only in New York, but, you know, I thought that at least at the beginning, my value added would be covering Latam, you know, because that's what I did for 7 years in Peru. So, you know, out of that networking, I got this position at SMBC, and I moved to New York. And as a banker in, I guess, anywhere in the world, you know, New York is the mecca of finance. So it's a dream for all of us, especially if you're in Latam, you know, working there. It's a dream to come to work to New York at a bank in New York. You know, for the knowledge, all the diversity, and if I ever go back to Peru, you know, this experience of working in New York, I'm sure is gonna be, you know, my big value added to whatever position I go back. But anyways, I started looking for a job and I got this position at SMBC, and I've been here for the past 4 years. I was actually a client of SMBC back at Interbank. So now I'm on the other side, but covering same also trade finance, but with corporates in Latin America, and that's how I ended up in New York. I'm also in Westchester County. I live in White Plains, like 10 minutes driving from Bronxville. I never got to live in the city because I moved here with the family, because of the schools and all that. Usually people move out of the city, but I always go back to the city because I love it. As I'm just echoing what everyone said, the energy, the diversity, the knowledge that you get from all the people that you meet here in New York. And I used to commute every day to the office. I took the train 45 minutes right out of Grand Central. My office is in Park Avenue. But you know, I'm still 100% working from home. There's a plan at the bank from September to January to go back, but because of the nature of my business, you know, all my clients are in Latin America. We also have to coordinate with the offices of SMBC in Latin America. I'm always in the phone, so because of that, I learned that starting January I'm gonna be just one day back in the office. The rest of the week I'm still gonna be working from home, which for me at least is great. I have a 1.5-year-old daughter, so she was born in January 2020. Then the pandemic started a couple months after that, so I was able to, you know, be at home, and through her, you know, through the first months of her. So, you know, at least on that side, that was a good thing for me from the pandemic. But you know, other than that, it's always good to be, you know, back in the office, looking at people, learning from them. You know, and that's something very unique in New York. This is the only city where you're gonna share the train with your CEO, for example. Yeah.
Well, actually, and so Lucas didn't share, but we met. He was one of our clients when I worked at the bank. I actually was very good friends with two mentors that worked at Interbank. Pilar Arauco, who had the position before Joel Ore, who was a managing correspondent banks, and then Joel Ore, who's a mentor in our group in Peru as well. That's how I met Lucas, and Lucas and I hang out, you know, in most of the banking conferences. But he's you know, great person to know. You guys are neighbors, Danny. Now that you know, you guys can hang out at some point. I hope that you do. By the way, this is important, right? This is important. Before, we used to do these events in person, and I used to rally the people at a bar to do this. And now the internet has become our bar. The reality is, I do hope that you guys can meet in person, because I have to be 100% honest with you. Everybody here, all the mentors are my friends, personal friends, right? And you know, if they're my friends and I trust them with my lives, you know, you guys are just gonna, that's the best gift I can give my friends, is my other friends, truly. And the people that are around me are my gift to you guys, to each other, right? It's not to take advantage for a business opportunity. It's to enjoy the friendship that we build throughout time, and to know the people behind it. Yeah, we talk about business all the time, right? Don't get me wrong. These people and I share business opportunities, but like I always tell my proteges, the relationship is more important than the business, and the business will come. You know, if somebody wants a true advice, they're gonna come to me, and I'm gonna tell them, you know, my honest opinion, and they know that it's from my heart. Not that I'm gonna take advantage of them because, you know, the guy works in JP Morgan, and I need a favor from him to connect me with the guy at JP Morgan. By the way, I do not need Daniel to connect me with people at JP Morgan. I know a lot of people at JP Morgan. My ex-boss works at JP Morgan. The point is that our relationship has lasted, you know, he said it himself. You know, I probably mentored him for a little while. Now he's giving back through this opportunity, and we spend our lives together, you know, in happiness, knowing that we can count on each other. In good times, we celebrate the good times. And trust me, I've had difficult times, right? And guess who I go to? These people. So I hope that that I can transfer that to you guys, right? To the associates in the team, that this is not a temporary situation. This is life, right? And these are real people. Okay. Christian is moving over there. Christian, any questions about New York? I know you're moving. You know, you got everything. You got your house.
I mean, I'm still
Where are you
packing
gonna
it up.
live?
I'm still packing it up since you're kicking me out so early. So I still, you know, I still got the month and a half you gave me. So, but no, and yeah,
I'm kicking you out. We have too many Colombians here. We gotta send them to New York.
I mean, yeah. I mean, from what Maureen said, I'll be taking recommendations of Colombian restaurants up there. So I'll definitely look forward to that. But yeah, as IBM sent out a plan to start opening up in September. I myself I'm in a role where I don't particularly need to go to the office. I'm more of I'm a client facing consultant role. So I quote unquote, I'll be working from home, but really it's more of working at wherever the client needs me, wherever the client wants me to go. So whether that be New York or across the US as a US based consultant. And that's where I'll be going. But I'll be based in New York. And, you know, as of now, I'm looking for places. I'm waiting to hear back from I'm also looking for roommates to drive down the cost of rent to see if I could actually sustain myself a bit better. But I am looking for places around the Brooklyn area, Queens. So I'm definitely in that active search to start kind of get the ball rolling and, you know, start packing up. And, you know, because, you know, Hernan only gave me a month and a half to leave, and, you know, I have to make do with that time.
Listen, you guys have any realtors to help them out? Maybe Lucas, Daniel, anybody that moved recently?
I can.
Yeah.
So reach out to me. I just moved to my apartment in Woodside almost 2 years.
No, I'll definitely reach out.
Yeah.
And Maureen, maybe you would know, since you just recently went through it, with renting, the brokers are no longer allowed to collect a fee, or is that still the case here in New York?
I don't know. When I moved, I had to pay a month and a half fee. That was 2 years ago. So I don't know if something changed recently. I hope it does. I do know that there's some change with deposits or something, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was under the impression that maybe a year or two ago they changed the rule where brokers are no longer allowed to collect a broker's fee on rentals, on leases. But I don't know. So if that is the case, it's definitely good to work with a broker. You don't have to pay the fee. They can definitely help you find a good place.
Definitely, I'll definitely be reaching out to everybody. But yeah, it's I'm looking more towards I'm looking not in Manhattan, but more towards Brooklyn and the other boroughs. Since my role will potentially require travel, it'd be more convenient to be near an airport. So yeah, I'll definitely reach out. So thank you very much.
You can also, you know, I don't know if you want to stay in New York, but you can also look on Jersey City or Hoboken. You know, that's just like being in New York, because you take a train 20 minutes and you're in the city.
Definitely look into Jersey City as well.
By the way, the broker commission, I won't charge you, right, either, but I'll charge you a food. You got to take me around. I didn't now want to miss Charles. Charles is in Miami. He's part of our global intern program. He's also a new apprentice as well, from what I hear. And why don't you talk about you, Charles? Introduce yourself.
Thank you for the introduction, Hernan. I first met Hernan through the business fraternity that we're both in. I've had some positions in there where I have Hernan as our boss. He overlooks our chapter. but currently I'm at Florida International University pursuing a degree in business analytics, and I'm aiming to try to get my career path into the automotive industry. I really have a passion for cars, racing, and all that, so I would love to try to take my career into that field. And I am graduating in December, so I'm a rising senior right now, and I'm looking for any type of opportunities to really help me explore more of my data analytics skills and improve it in any kind of way possible.
By the way, I heard some good news that you're still moving along. So I'm glad for you. That means you're kicking butt. You know, breathe in, breathe out. If you need advice in the process, reach out. Okay.
Definitely.
But good for you. All right. So we have 15 minutes. So in these 15 minutes, we talked a little bit about New York, but you heard my friends here. What bit of advice, guys, what bit of advice would you give these guys that are starting in their careers? Think about what advice would you have given your 20-year-old self about, about what you experienced. I like to hear, any words of wisdom to these guys before we move on. I know you guys have a ton of experience. Did you make it? Did you feel that you're already where you want to be? They're thinking.
I could definitely do something quick since I went through that process recently. It's always important to meet new people like we are right now and network. It's the best thing, and I wish I could have networked even more during high school or college, and I did a tremendous amount of it already, which is why I have such great friends and such great contacts. So and one really great advice is to not wait until the end of like senior year or the end of your academic journey to start that networking process, because many of college students don't know is that that job search kind of takes a long time to get going, and from my experience, many of these students fall into that trap. They just assume first comes college, then graduate, and then start the job search, which is completely backwards. So that's one of the greatest advice, is just to start everything early, start your search, start with the end in mind, set your goals to further you where you want to be at the end. So you're not always scrambling to where you want to be. Rather, each step you take is taking you closer to where you want to be.
So that's good advice to your recent self. Thank you. Maureen, you were going to say something. What advice would you give these guys?
This is a weird advice, but be flexible. Think of other opportunities. I have to say that my family, when I was an art director, they were pushing me to go into finance. I want to say enjoy what you're doing, because in the end of the day, it's really important to enjoy what you're doing. And I love what I'm doing, but I also had to, like, a part of me had to like change gears in my mind to appreciate that what I'm doing has value. And also economically speaking, part of your career advances, you're starting at entry level, the economy and things like that. I wasn't very savvy with managing my money or thinking about things that you're talking about renting an apartment or buying a car or buying a home, things like credit scores and things like that. I don't know if it's because like I'm a new immigrant and my family didn't have that mindset of those type of things, and we were in a different economy. So you kind of like make and spend. So I would say that in addition to your career, think about yourself as an asset and your assets as well. Like protect yourself and advance yourself and your friends and your family. So we got to empower ourselves in that sense.
Great advice.
As the financial advisor, you stole my thunder, Maureen.
Save money, save it with me. No, I'm kidding. Sir,
No,
what advice
no.
would you give your...
Absolutely, and Maureen really said it well. The biggest asset anyone has is their youth and time, and starting early with saving, it means so much more than starting later and trying to catch up. No matter where you're doing it, you know, it sounds like a lot of people here are working at some really great companies. They're getting careers started at some very large companies. Use the 401k. Just, you know, you're probably going to get a match. Definitely use the match. You know, save. It's difficult in a city like New York. Christian Bonavides mentioned, you know, looking for roommates as a way of keeping expenses down. You know, it's a really smart way to think, because 10 years can go by really quick, and then you're in your 30s, your mid 30s, your 40s. And I, as an advisor, I meet people often who are in their 40s and their 50s, and they expect a miracle, you know, and this is not going to happen. So time is so easily wasted in so many ways. But, you know, a lot of us are in finance. We know the power of compounding. Compounding is growth on growth on growth. And it starts small. You know, sometimes I see a lot of clients that have the wherewithal to start an account for their children, and they gift their children some sort of an investment account, which is an incredible gift, not so much because they're gifting them money, but because they're gifting them a habit. They're starting a habit of thinking about saving. And sometimes it's almost easier to save into an account when you've already got something there. You know, it's hard to get that process started when you're like, oh, what is $100 a month going to do? You'd be surprised what $100 a month will do. And, you know, when you're young, to think that retirement is so far off and you don't even have to think about it, you know, you can keep kicking that can down the road, and it's don't do that to yourself. You from the future will thank you from today, big time. If you know, if you take Maureen's advice there and just get started early, think of yourself like an asset, like she said, and protect your assets for sure. And trust the markets. The markets work. You know, people of my generation experienced a lot of turmoil in the markets and a lot of, you know, Enron, Arthur Andersen fraud. What was his name? The big Ponzi scheme guy. His name is evading me right now. Everyone here knows his name. He went to jail. You know, all these fraudsters. You know, the late 90s. Bernie Madoff, thank you. Late 90s with, you know, Russian ruble collapsing, long-term capital management almost taking down all of Wall Street, 9/11 crashing markets, the 2008 great financial crisis, and then what happened last year. You know, it can dissuade a lot of people from participating in the financial markets, but it's all of our ability to participate and be business owners is buying stocks. And it grows wealth. You know, having faith in it, staying in it. It's not timing the market. There's a stupid saying at JP Morgan, but it's so silly, but it makes so much sense. It's not about timing the market. It's about having time in the market. You just got to stay in it, and you know, don't let your emotions get the best of you. So yeah, I think that's really good advice. Is no matter where your career takes you, we're all going to retire at some point, and so, you know, do what you can to set yourself up for success, because no one wants to work forever. And the last thing I'll mention actually is there's a very interesting movement called FIRE. It's called Financial Independence Retire Early. You can look it up online. I think it's fantastic. and a lot of it is done on your own. You don't have to work with a financial advisor. It's not shooting myself in the foot, but I think it's a fantastic movement because it gets people. It really encourages people to save and to build multiple streams of income aside from your employment income, and that is, to think about that, to build multiple streams of income in your life, whatever it is, I think is also a good thing to focus on.
There's actually multiple variations of fire. There's lean fire, fat fire.
Yeah.
I'd love to fat fire, but that's way out.
By the way, so I'm not a financial advisor, far from it. I actually, don't like dealing with money. I like making money, right? But I don't like dealing and managing the money. That's why I have my wife is an accountant. She runs my activities. I just make the money. But what I'll do tell you is this concept of the 401k, maximizing the 401k is absolutely, whoever doesn't do it is just plain stupid. It saved my life. It saved me from when I was on the street to pay the bills for a while. And I paid plenty I paid plenty as far as the tax burden for retiring the money. But just think about it. I mean, it was free money. So I got 100% on the money that I put in, and I got taxed 30% of the money that I took out, but I survived because of that. So I believe in that myself. The other thing that I did is I bought the 529 plans for my kids before they were born. And this is something that people don't believe me. Right now, Valerie is in school in Wake Forest. I was able to transfer a lot of it to that. And, ended up paying a little bit, but nothing like what I need to do. But I put the money early, right? 18 years before. And I let that money work for me. And the other thing is, this is something that happened to me, and I hope it doesn't happen to many people. Ignacio, I know it happened to him as well. You never expect to be fired from your dream jobs, right? That's just something that you're not planning it, right? It's not like, check, I want to get fired. No, but you never know, because these are companies that they're driven by markets, and you have a COVID situation, right? I got money for a signing bonus when I worked at Wells Fargo. Little did I know that 2.5 years later they would eliminate my position. So money, I tell you, money comes and goes, and sometimes what I realize is that, and I told that to Nacho the other day, and I tell you, the journey for me is really the destination. I'm having so much fun, and I don't wait till later to have fun. I don't wait till later to do what I like. I don't wait till later to do anything. I do it. Sorry for my dog. I do it now, right? I want to do whatever. I want to bring people in finance together. I do the event myself, right? I want to help in the community. I do it myself, right? I don't wait for people. If there's people doing it, we do it together. But the reality is, do not wait for things to happen. Make things happen. And if that's the advice that I leave today, it's important advice. Do not wait for things to happen. Make things happen. Anybody else? Jovan, we passed a couple, but I know you're there and you have some good advice, and my dog is barking. So anything you want to share?
Let me put my speaker back. I apologize. I mean, all great advices. I mean, you have a financial planner, 401k, 529 was great. I had it even before I had my son. believe yourself, continue to improve yourself. I mean, study, learn, read. I actually learn a lot of stuff during work hours. Read, continue to ask questions, at your work. Whatever you don't know, be open about it and ask questions either within the group, within the friends, or even at work, right? I mean, so that is kind of where I see. I mean, I think, I took some classes even at, when I was much younger, and I'm continuing to take stuff and learn during this difficult, PPP program was something new for me. Now, never existed before. So September, October of last year, I volunteering and I joined the group to do it, and tough, but it was, it is rewarding. You are helping clients, you're helping people, you're helping restaurants. So overall, kind of great experience, even though unusual situation. And love to any other questions anytime. I just ping, as Hernan and me are doing it. Sometimes just ping us and send us, talk about it, ask questions, whatever you need.
So I can go next, Hernan. So I think one of the things I hear from a lot of our seniors and people that are new to their career in their first couple of years, one of the things I hear a lot is, I studied finance, but now I want to do web development. And one of the pieces of advice I'll give you is, at the end of the day, we are in a market where you can work anywhere in the world, particularly in the US. So I'm going to use Miami as an example. What used to be a Miami salary is now a New York salary. And what's happening in the market, and I hear this from recruiters every single day, being in the technology side, is you have to be searchable, right? So you have to have a skill set that's easy to search. So if, for example, if you want to go like myself on the data track, you want to have 3 to 5 years experience in the data track. 3 years is a minimum requirement for most roles. 5 years, you're going to get a good amount of money for that skill. If you have multiple skills at 3 to 5 years, right? So let's say you have a skill in finance for 3 years and you have a skill in technology for 3 years. Now you're in the FinServ business, right? So I know Natalie dropped off the call, but I was going to make that suggestion to her with Salesforce. So all these large software companies have different divisions, right? So within the industries that they follow, they look for people with experience in that industry, right? So if you have 3 years of experience in finance and now you have 3 years of experience in technology, you can easily move into that role where somebody else couldn't, because they didn't have that magic 3 to 5 years of experience. And I know it sounds so simple, but ask a recruiter. If you don't believe me, and this is a good barometer for anybody, and that goes for people that are younger and older. If you don't understand where you sit in the market, ask a recruiter. They will tell you. If you have friends that are recruiters, ask them. Hey, I'm interested in moving into a new role. What are the requirements that people are asking for, right? What is the minimum requirement? What is the maximum requirement? And something we refer to a lot in the technology side is you want to guide yourself into the unicorn status. Unicorn status makes you unique. So if you're unique in the market, you're going to get paid a lot more. And I can't emphasize that enough, right? You want to build a skill set. So if you're studying finance, work for 3 years in finance. You could do something else after, and you can build upon those 3 years, but have the 3 to 5 years of experience in an area, especially when you're young. And I'm gonna pick on you, Christian, a little bit. So Christian goes into work at IBM, and we had this conversation with Christian, and I said, you work for a company like IBM, and you get 3 years of experience at IBM, work anywhere you want, man. I mean, that's you, and especially if you're guiding that work in a specific area, right? If you're working in the data science side, or you're working in the distributed ledger side, or for a specific technology, that skill set is so important. And because everything now is searchable, right? Recruiters they're not doing job fairs. They're not, mining their databases. They're going on LinkedIn and they're searching you. And guess what they're doing? It's all keyword search. And they're doing keyword search based on your number of years of experience in that area. So if you're not searchable and your skill set doesn't fall into that 3 to 5 years, it's going to be very hard for you to get the money you want. Everything else how content, right? Like what we're doing right now is great. I mean, you want to build a network. You want to be the guy, the resume, it sits at the top of the stack, not at the bottom of the stack. But you got to do both, right? You got to be searchable and you got to fit, you got to be able to network with recruiters, but you also have to be able to network with people in your industry. But if I'm meeting with, let's say I go to meet with Daniel in New York, right? And I go, hey, Daniel, I want to get a job in your industry. What do you think Daniel's going to ask me? First thing that's going to come out of his mouth is, do you have experience in this industry? How long have you been doing this? And that's a criteria. I see a lot of people bounce around, especially when they're young. They go for the money and they may get a good job in a specific area and then switch to another job in a different area. And they're struggling to get to that 3 to 5 year range. So important. I can't emphasize it enough. And I'm not sure who mentioned it before. I think it was the person from Texas, but she mentioned it as well. Everything has technology in it. If you want to venture off and learn something new, learn technology. If you work in accounting, there's accounting softwares, there's ERPs. I just worked on a project at Ryder. We implemented Workday, one of the most forward-thinking ERPs out there in the marketplace. I have a finance background. Guess who was on the project? I was. So I spent 3 years working on an implementation for an ERP in addition to doing my regular job. So that's on my resume. So those type of things, really search out the technology side of what you do, right? If you're in banking, there's a lot of predictive analysis. If you're in sales, you're predicting, what the best contact is to call next, right? You're scoring leads. Marketing, the same thing. So those are the two pieces of advice I will give you: is build a skill set between 3 to 5 years and try to find the technology component of it, because everything is being automated. Everything. So that's it. My dog agrees.
Your dog agrees. My dog stopped and now your dog agrees. Great advice. Lucas, any bright besides the game and crying because it was tight? I guess, to my friends.
I guess just real quick, I think Christian said it, but network as much as you can. That's always going to help you. It actually helped me getting this job in New York. And also I would say always read something, separate 30 minutes, an hour a day or every other day to at least read the news, to be updated on what's going on in the world. And I guess my last advice would be, always have a balance between your job and your personal life. It's good to, sometimes you're gonna have to stay later at work. That's always gonna happen, but try to have that balance in your life. Not everything is work. Family is important. Enjoy your free time as much as you can. So, that's a big advice that I would also give.
Excellent. Guys, any questions you might have for them? I took it a little longer, but I told you when we have a lot of people and I give a chance to everybody to introduce themselves, it takes a little longer. But any questions that you have, by the way, these people that are here, they're not going anywhere, right? They're part of our team. So if you don't have a question now and you want to ask a question later, they're fully available. They don't know, but I am eliminating, by the way, I am eliminating the main global associates group and global mentor group. And I'm creating a humongous group of all apprentices in LinkedIn, so that now your phone doesn't blow up with WhatsApp messages. It stays in your LinkedIn, and that way you can also ask questions to the people here. So I think Christian, I think you had given me that advice before for the industry groups. We're going to implement it for the larger group, and that's the reason, because they wanted a venue for everybody to be together, and LinkedIn is going to be the place. Okay, it's a LinkedIn chat, and the good thing about that is your phone is not blowing up, but you're going to see on top the messages, and that there's messages for you. You can check it at your own time. So that's a surprise that I have for you. But questions, Christian? I know you raised your hand. Rápido.
No, you pretty much got it.
Okay, so you weren't raising your hand. You were just saluting. Capitan. Anybody else?
I mean, I guess not really any questions, but I just wanted to bounce a few things. Lucas, like you said, work-life balance is really big. One of the first things I noticed at Goldman Sachs is that staying extremely late is really normal for us. But at the same time, I feel like we have a few overachievers, for lack of a better term, who make everyone else look bad, and not in a good way. Working 80 hours a week and then complaining that no one else is doing 80 hours is not healthy across the board. And I'm sure a few of you know what I'm talking about. Daniel, yeah, great advice on personal finance. I personally advocate personal finance as much as possible. I think there's a lot more worth in your personal finance than chasing a high salary. It makes a huge difference in the long run. And Hernan, 401k, don't forget about your IRA and your HSA as well. Really big tools as well. I feel like a lot of people don't know that there's IRAs and HSAs and the maximum, potential you can get there. Ignacio, you're right. Being very tech forward in any field is really important. Personally, I took on coding, Python and SQL. And the reason behind that was because at my first internship, I noticed that there was a really big push for tech internally from our CTO. And essentially, I said, hey, if I want to get across and on top of everyone else and be as forward as possible, I had to be different, from the standard school, I guess, curriculum. And that was kind of taking on Python and SQL. And you'd be surprised how fast that got me on the radar for a lot of different recruiters and different companies.
Because you're a unicorn.
Yeah, it's and it's
you hit that unicorn status, right? You got the finance background and you got an interest in technology.
Yeah, exactly. And it's it's something that you're starting to see now across the board for a lot of new positions.
Yep.
You have companies like personally Goldman Sachs, for a lot of their finance positions, Robinhood, JP Morgan, they're starting to look for Python, SQL, in some cases R,
Yep.
which, out there. So it's really important. And Maureen also wanted to say, adding that creativity aspect. I think working in banking and finance, I've noticed that a lot of people, even the newer analysts like myself, are coming in with a very structured, okay, I work, Goldman Sachs, this is banking, but I like to bring that creativity side, and I take my job seriously, but I don't take it as serious because I like to be creative with it. And I think that's kind of helped me push along, with the right people. So just wanted to add a few points across the board, and I appreciate everyone's time and contribution tonight.
Excellent. Well, guys, we stayed a little longer, but it was well worth it. Again, we're going to continue our conversations online, but I got to share two things, and this will surprise you. So I don't, everybody wants to box you into something. I believe everybody is unique, and those things that make you unique are the things that attract people, right? So again, if I were like every other banker, You know, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in today with the company that I'm in today. And talk about creativity, Mike. This will be fun for you. But you know, when I was a participant in the American Idol experience, and I am a singer. I don't know if you know. I auditioned for a group called Menudo. I don't know if you knew that as well. I was in a teenager myself, so I sing and dance as well. I don't do much of it during COVID, although I have my own recording channel, and I do it for fun because I like it. Right? I don't have to fit into the box. Right? That doesn't make me less of a banker. That makes me a happy person, and if I'm happy, you know, my company's happy because they're making money. Right? That doesn't mean that I'm not focused in the business. It just means that that I'm fulfilling all the boxes that I like. My family is super important. I have a parenting blog for many years. I used to be a young adult minister, hence why Apprentice exists. That was the precursor of Apprentice, and I am a counselor, a Catholic counselor as well. So, you know, do whatever you want to do, right? There's places and spaces for all of them, right? Don't try to do everything in the same place. Don't try to sing at work, and don't try to, right? Don't confuse everybody, right? Well, a good advice that a mentor told me, Hernan, you can do anything. By the way, I always work for U.S. banks, for American banks, and my bosses said, you know what? I'm happy that you're singing in these banking conferences when I was in my 20s. But you know what? A piece of advice I'll tell you is you got to keep that in your personal life, right? Or people will think you're the funny guy. They won't take you seriously, and that hurt me at the beginning because I was like, oh no, I want to do whatever I want. The reality is there's places and spaces for everything, right? You're not gonna go nuts at in your bank, right? In your bank, you do your banking job. In the karaoke, you sing like like Beyonce for whoever, right? But there's places and spaces for everything, and those are the things that make an affinity with the other people, right? If everybody's a banker, boring conversation. We want to talk about travel. We want to talk about Colombia. We want to talk about Cuba. We want to talk about cigars. We want to talk about bourbon. We want to talk about whiskey. Those are conversations that I want to have. And for that, you have to live your life, right? And amazing tequila, NFTs, right? All these things, okay? So just go explore the world and come back to what you do for a living, and be proud that you're a unique person that has skills, and you bring a lot to our community and a lot to your work. Don't shortchange your jobs. Give them all of you. Just maintain certain things in certain places. Rapid fire. Anybody else that wants to say anything before we leave? And I have a gift for you before we leave.
So you're not gonna sing for us?
Si tú supieras que no te voy a cantar ahora.
Perfect.
Video. Guys, it's a pleasure to see you. I miss you. I hope that I can give you a big hug and to celebrate. Daniel will hang out. Lucas, you're coming to Miami to Fellowbond, I assume. So we're going to hang out there. Maureen, we have to because we have our party, our cocktail party. And we have Exim Bank conference as well that we're going to get together. So we'll find a way of getting together. Most important thing, Jovan will meet in the bottom of the one of your tower, or we meet at a Starbucks. We go to a soccer game. I do miss you guys, and I'm going to see you very soon. My gift, payhip.com/apprentice worldwide. payhip.com/apprentice worldwide. That's the Apprentice Worldwide library of courses that I have procured for the team both young and old, with topics that range from Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies all the way to how to change careers. All free, all available for you. And the coupon code is I love New York. So you use that coupon code and you'll get these for free. Not, by the way, they're not free for everybody. They're free for you guys. Okay. I love New York. Check them out. It's some great books and great courses that I procured myself. Some books about how to excel in your career, how to find a job, how to network, all these things I procured for you throughout the years, and they're all free for the guys here. I love New York. Okay. I see you guys. Thank you for everything. The next showcase is Hong Kong and India. We're doing an Asian global showcase. You guys are more than welcome. It's not going to be at nighttime. It's going to be a lunch and learn. So it's going to be fun. We're going to have people from Asia join us and talk to us about what they're doing over there. In the meantime, I'm here for you. And if you don't know where to find me, hernanmayol.com. Try that out and you see why I give you this URL, hernanmayol.com. It's my contact info, by the way. It's my email, my phone number. It takes you to my contact card, okay? Guys, I love you. Be good. Adelante.
Gracias.
Dios lo cuide.
Thanks.
Nos vemos. Gracias, Hernán.
Bye.
Everyone.
Good
I
job.
really-
Ya te veo. Iggy, you owe me money? If you do, pay me. No, I'm kidding. Talk to you later.